This is Guru Focus First Look, your morning market brief for Monday, August 10. Here are the stories driving markets today. The S&P 500 closed at a record high as investors weighed stalled Iran nuclear negotiations and looked ahead to key inflation data, with futures this morning pointing to modest gains. The rally followed a weaker-than-expected July jobs report, which has led many economists to doubt the likelihood of a Federal Reserve rate hike in September. U.S. stocks advanced sharply on the jobs data, while global equity markets showed mixed performance overnight, reflecting cautious sentiment amid ongoing geopolitical risks and oil price fluctuations.
Turning now to corporate news, Shein is reportedly valued between $22 billion and $25 billion ahead of its planned initial public offering. But the fast fashion retailer faces new tariff headwinds that are challenging its low-cost business model and shifting its focus towards services. Meanwhile, China's CXMT surged 466% on its IPO debut, intensifying competitive pressure on Micron Technology and providing Apple with increased supplier leverage in the global memory market.
Another story we're watching is Berkshire Hathaway's increased investment activity. The conglomerate, led by Vice Chair Greg Abel, has been deploying more of its cash reserves, with notable increases in technology holdings, including Alphabet. This move comes as J.P. Morgan strategists raised their S&P 500 target, citing strong returns from artificial intelligence capital expenditures across major tech firms. On the energy front, ADNOC Gas reported a second-quarter profit of $665 million and approved an $8.2 billion expansion project aimed at boosting gas production capacity. Oil prices edged lower overnight as negotiations between Iran and Oman over the Strait of Hormuz stalled, and Goldman Sachs now forecasts oil to fall below $70 per barrel by the end of the year. Meanwhile, Verizon Communications has restored cellular and internet service after a widespread outage in Southern California and other regions. The disruption was caused by vandalized fiber lines, but connectivity has now been fully restored for affected customers.
Now let's turn to the U.S. housing market, where the Northeast and Midwest are leading the nation's hottest markets. Peabody, Massachusetts, topped Realtor.com's list of most in-demand zip codes for homebuyers in 2026, with the region dominating the latest rankings. Staying with economic pressures, rising grocery costs continue to impact U.S. families, with many resorting to credit cards and limiting purchases to essentials, underscoring persistent inflationary challenges. Investors are closely watching upcoming inflation data and developments in AI infrastructure as key drivers for the week ahead.
Elsewhere, the Federal Aviation Administration is piloting artificial intelligence-powered systems with Alaska Airlines to optimize flight efficiency and reduce delays across the national airspace. Turning to government and infrastructure, the Trump administration has agreed to pay German energy firm RWE $1.22 billion to cancel offshore wind leases, a move intended to limit wind farm development near U.S. coastlines. In food safety news, Taylor Farms and several major grocery chains have recalled over a dozen prepared foods containing jalapenos after a salmonella outbreak sickened 345 people in 27 states. In Michigan, the nation's largest cyclospora outbreak traced to lettuce is now waning, though more than 22,000 cases have been reported nationwide. Looking ahead to today's earnings, Simon Property Group, Rocket Lab, Ferguson Enterprises, AST Space Mobile, and Bridge Biopharma are all scheduled to report after the close, with consensus estimates ranging from -28 cents to +$3.15 per share. Finally, on the dividend front, CVR Partners, Alexander's, W.W. Granger, International Business Machines, and One Main Holdings all go ex-dividend today,
with yields ranging from 0.73% to 9.7%. That wraps up today's market update. We'll be back soon with the latest market news. Thanks for listening to the Guru Focus Brief.